Hey Eagles fans, welcome back to FlyEaglesFly News. We've got so much to dive into today. From potential roster shakeups to on-field accountability, and I promise you, this one is packed with everything that matters for Philadelphia. Let's start off with some major chatter. A former Eagles Super Bowl champion quarterback might be making a return to Philly now. I know these rumors tend to swirl around, but this isn't just idle speculation. When you look at the roster and consider the way things have unfolded in recent weeks, this could be a move that really changes the dynamic of the team. Of course, the defense hasn't been perfect, and we saw that firsthand in the game against the Bears. There were moments where tackling and coverage left a lot to be desired, which makes certain decisions even more critical right now. The Eagles front office clearly recognized this because the roster move they made landed at the perfect time, providing the team with some much-needed depth in the secondary. And speaking of accountability, let's talk about Jalen Hurts. He's had his ups and downs, but recently we got a glimpse into the kind of leadership he brings to the field. There was that interception, that fumble, moments where any quarterback might lose their cool, but the way he handled it was textbook leadership. He owned the mistake, spoke directly with his teammates, and made sure the responsibility stayed on his shoulders. That's the kind of player you want leading your team, someone who doesn't shift blame but instead steps up and says, "I'm going to fix this." It's no wonder the media sometimes questions his leadership. It doesn't always make for sensational headlines, but any fan who watches closely knows this is exactly what Philly needs: accountability and transparency on the field, the sideline interactions, the way he communicates with Devontae Smith, the way he processes what went wrong and then plans to make it right. It all adds up to a player who is invested in more than just personal stats. It's about team performance, and that is something that resonates beyond just one game or one play. Now, while we're talking about talent and recognition, let's touch on Pro Bowl voting. Cam Jurgens currently sits fourth in votes for the center position, which is solid. But the lack of recognition for Quinton Mitchell is hard to ignore. This guy has been phenomenal. The stats don't lie. First in catch rate allowed at 41.9%. Second in average target separation at 1.8 yards. Third in passer rating allowed at 62.3. And tied for third in passes defended at 14. The numbers scream Pro Bowl talent. But as we all know, sometimes popularity overshadows performance when it comes to these selections. Imagine someone performing at an all-pro level, but not even cracking the Pro Bowl. This is the frustrating reality for Eagles fans. It's a reminder that accolades in the NFL don't always reflect the actual impact a player has on the field. And Philly fans understand that better than anyone. The way Mitchell has contributed to every defensive snap has been incredible. And it's a shame when recognition doesn't align with effort. Switching gears to some major roster news. Darius Slay's departure from the Steelers opens up some intriguing possibilities. Slay and Pittsburgh have mutually agreed to part ways, and now the veteran cornerback is weighing his options. For Philly, this could be a low-risk, high-reward scenario. We've seen players who struggled with one team completely reinvent themselves elsewhere. Just look at how Daniel Jones has thrived with a different supporting cast in Indianapolis. Compared to his time with the Giants, Slay may have had his challenges in Pittsburgh, but the Eagles' defensive scheme and the environment in Philly could be just what he needs to shine again, even if he comes in as a backup or rotational piece. The potential upside is enormous, especially given the injuries and inconsistencies we've seen in the secondary this season. Marcus Epps and Michael Carter to provide depth, but adding someone like Slay, who has proven he can perform at a high level in this system, could pay dividends down the stretch. Philly fans have seen this happen before. Players step into a new environment, find their rhythm, and suddenly the defense looks completely different. And let's not forget the first NFC East Hard Knocks episode that just aired. Focusing on the Cowboys, it's always interesting to see the behind-the-scenes glimpses of rival teams, and while the spotlight was on Dallas, there were nuggets about the Eagles sprinkled in there as well. The coaching staff emphasized cutting out distractions, eliminating noise, and staying focused, which is critical considering the whirlwind of headlines and debates that have surrounded the team this year. From the sideline perspective, Jalen Hurts continues to demonstrate the type of leadership that doesn't always make the highlight reels but is undeniably present. There's a scene where a missed pass and a slight miscommunication could have spiraled into chaos, but Hurts immediately took responsibility, addressed his teammates, and stayed composed. That level of maturity is what drives a locker room. Especially when the games get tight, the stakes rise, and the pressure is at its peak. It's one thing to perform in front of the cameras, but it's another entirely to maintain poise in the heat of battle. And Hurts is showing us that he can do both on the offensive side. The Eagles' play calling and strategy are constantly under scrutiny, and with good reason. The team has a high hitch route rate and a low cross route rate, which makes certain plays predictable. And the way A.J. Brown is used in the slot is minimal compared to other top receivers in the league. Adjusting these schemes and finding ways to exploit defensive tendencies is crucial for the Eagles to stay competitive in the NFC East. Kevin Patullo's role in the booth, rather than on the sidelines, is something that's been highlighted, and it makes sense. Being elevated allows him to see coverages, anticipate defensive shifts, and provide input that isn't clouded by the immediate chaos on the field. His history as a passing game coordinator has always involved a more cerebral perspective, overseeing the game from above, not reacting from the sideline. Trusting him to continue in that role while someone else bridges the gap on the field could be the key to unlocking a more efficient defense and getting the most out of Hurts and his receivers. Meanwhile, schedule updates are providing a clearer path for the Eagles. The Week 16 matchup against the Washington Commanders is now officially set for Saturday, December 20th at 5 p.m. on Fox. Knowing this allows the team to plan, recover, and strategize for the remainder of the season. Compared to some of the tougher schedules in the league, Philly's slate is manageable, giving them a real opportunity to control their destiny. With the Eagles currently sitting atop the NFC East, just a game and a half ahead of Dallas, every decision, roster moves, player accountability, and play calling adjustments matters immensely. It's about fine-tuning performance, staying healthy, and maximizing talent at every turn. Lastly, recent roster moves have added depth where it was needed most. Andrew Makuba's surgery and Marcus Epps' practice window being opened signal a proactive approach by the Eagles. While Sidney Brown and Perry Nickerson were part of the conversation, the Eagles are positioning themselves to ensure safety and tackling responsibilities are covered. Injuries happen, but the ability to respond quickly and integrate capable players like Epps into the rotation shows the organization's commitment to fielding a complete and competitive squad. Timing here is critical, especially considering upcoming games against teams like the Chargers, where every defensive play could make a difference. These moves, combined with Hurts' leadership, offensive adjustments, and potential veteran additions like Slay, paint a picture of a team that is adaptable, resilient, and focused on finishing strong this season. Now, moving on to some other key elements shaping the Eagles' season, it's impossible not to highlight the defensive adjustments that have been quietly occurring behind the scenes. With the issues against the Bears fresh in everyone's minds, tackling fundamentals and coverage consistency have become a central talking point. Marcus Epps' availability provides the Eagles with a versatile option at safety, and his readiness to step in could alleviate some of the pressure on the starters. The team has already shown that it is willing to adapt when the circumstances demand it, whether that's shuffling the secondary, bringing in practice squad talent, or even adjusting schemes mid-week. In a division as tight and competitive as the NFC East, these details can be the difference between winning and losing critical games. And the Eagles appear poised to capitalize on them. The front office, coaching staff, and players seem aligned in understanding that every roster move and every snap counts in this stretch of the season. Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts continues to demonstrate why he's central to this team's success, beyond the leadership shown in handling mistakes. His ability to remain calm under pressure allows the offense to execute complex plays. Even when the defense applies heavy pressure, we've seen him navigate high-stress situations, adjusting at the line of scrimmage, reading defensive coverages, and distributing the ball effectively. His chemistry with A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and the rest of the receiving corps is improving steadily. And it's becoming evident that when these connections are at their peak, the Eagles' offense is among the most dangerous in the league. The offensive line, with Cam Jurgens anchoring the middle, has been crucial in giving Hurts the time he needs to make these decisions. Jurgens' own performance, highlighted by strong Pro Bowl voting numbers, is indicative of a unit that is growing more confident and cohesive as the season progresses. The interplay between line protection, quarterback decision-making, and receiver execution is subtle, but pivotal, and it's exactly the kind of synergy that separates good teams from championship contenders. Turning back to the Pro Bowl conversation, The ongoing debate over who truly deserves recognition continues to stir discussions among fans and analysts alike. Quinton Mitchell, despite statistically outperforming many of his peers, remains overlooked in the voting process, highlighting the disconnect between performance and popularity. This isn't just a Philly problem. It's a league-wide phenomenon. But it becomes especially frustrating when you see a player contributing at an elite level week after week and still being undervalued in these selections. It underscores a broader narrative about how football recognition often fails to reflect actual impact, emphasizing name recognition and media visibility over the tangible contributions seen on the field for Eagles fans. This only deepens the appreciation for players who consistently perform, regardless of external validation. Mitchell's performance, along with other unsung heroes on this team, serves as a reminder that consistency, accountability, and effort are often more meaningful than any accolade in a league obsessed with rankings and awards. The real story is the impact each player makes every single week. And Philly has plenty of examples of that. Meanwhile, the potential addition of Darius Slay remains an intriguing storyline. If the Eagles can bring him in and integrate him effectively, it could transform the secondary in a matter of weeks. While there are legitimate concerns about past performance and recent struggles, the NFL is full of examples where a change of scenery revitalizes a player's career. Slay's experience and skill set, combined with the Eagles' coaching and defensive system, make him a candidate for a resurgence. Even in a limited role, his presence could provide mentorship for younger players like Marcus Epps and help stabilize rotations during key matchups. The Eagles' front office clearly sees the strategic value in this type of low-risk, high-reward acquisition, and it fits a broader pattern of shrewd roster management that has kept Philadelphia competitive in a division that doesn't forgive mistakes. Injuries, performance swings, and unexpected challenges are part of every NFL season. But the way a team adapts often defines its success. And the Eagles are demonstrating that adaptability at multiple levels. On the offensive side, the play calling and strategy remain under the microscope. Kevin Patullo's perspective from the booth, rather than the sidelines, has become a key discussion point. Being elevated allows him to see defensive coverages develop in real time, providing a more informed lens through which to guide the passing game. The contrast between viewing the game from above versus reacting from the sideline is significant. From the booth, Patullo can maintain composure, analyze defensive tendencies, and make recommendations that optimize the offense's rhythm and timing. This approach has shown promise, especially when paired with Hurts' ability to read defenses and adjust plays on the fly. Coordinating the quarterback, receivers, and offensive line in this way requires precision, trust, and clear communication, and when executed well, it maximizes the team's offensive efficiency. The Eagles' focus on refining these elements is evident in recent games, where they've attempted to reduce predictability and create more dynamic play sequences. Even if there's still room for improvement, FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments and let's talk birds. Eagles fans were left stunned and heavy-hearted yesterday, as whispers swirling around Lincoln Financial Field turned into a painful reality. Sources close to the team suggest that the Eagles front office is bracing for a major shakeup, one that could redefine the roster and leave a void impossible to fill overnight. At the center of this storm is none other than the team's cornerstone player, a figure whose presence on the field has been as defining as the Eagles' green and white themselves. According to insiders, ROSEMAN, the team executive known for his measured approach and often reserved statements, has made what some are calling a heartbreaking announcement, hinting at the departure of this key star. While official channels remain tight-lipped, the emotional weight of the message has not gone unnoticed. Fans flooded social media with expressions of shock and sorrow, many recalling the player's defining moments in Philly, the unforgettable plays that seemed to lift the city itself, and the leadership both on and off the field that made him a true symbol of the franchise. The timing and circumstances remain murky, but speculation is rampant. Some suggest contract negotiations hit a stumbling block that neither side could reconcile. Others hint at personal motivations and opportunity elsewhere, a change in career trajectory, or perhaps a desire for a new challenge beyond the familiar turf of Eagles Stadium. Whatever the cause, the impact is already being felt. Locker room sources describe an atmosphere of quiet disbelief, A team grappling with the reality that one of their leaders may be walking away, rumors have only intensified as fans dissect every word of ROSEMAN's statement. Analysts and former players are weighing in, debating the potential ripple effects on team strategy and morale. Social media hashtags are trending, fan forums are buzzing, and the city is holding its collective breath. United in both admiration for the player and the sorrow of possible loss, one thing is certain: the Eagles' landscape, familiar and steadfast for years, may be poised for a transformation. And the heart of that storm is a player who has defined a generation of Philly football. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.